The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily represent those of the management of KUCI or the UC Board of Regents. For more information about this show, go to kuci.org.
This is Cinéshow with Nima Golbabai on KUCI 88.9 Irvine. Today's show is a pre-recorded one. I am not able to record live in the studio, but next week we will be back live in studio. So, on today's episode, I don't have a single movie to review. I'm going to actually take you through my top 50 list and give little mini reviews and things I like about all the movies in my list. So we're going to be doing 50 whole movies today. And don't worry, it won't take too long. It's going to be more quick mini reviews. And then the rest will be followed by some nice music, I guess. We'll do. So without further ado, let's get into it. So I use IMDb to make all my lists. I make little lists of movies I like, and I rank them and whatnot. So this has been years in the making, and yeah. So number one is actually tied. It's the only place I have a tie. My two favorite movies are Clockwork Orange and Barry Lyndon. Let's say if I had to pick, Clockwork Orange would be my favorite. I have a great history with both of these movies, but Clockwork Orange, my brother introduced to me, and it was such a amazing experience for me at the time. I had never really seen a movie like that. And of course it's from Stanley Kubrick, and it sort of started my journey with his movies, and I have really great memories from that night where I watched that movie. It stars Malcolm McDowell, who is the main star of that film. Some may consider it disturbing, so if you're easily frightened, I guess, don't watch it. But if you're not, then do watch it, but be careful because it's a little explicit. I've talked about this movie many times on my show, and I think it's an incredibly complex movie that critics of it like to simplify it and try to make it like some movie that is just promoting bad behavior or whatever. But the movie, really, the central question is about what makes a person good, and it's about free will and the fact that goodness requires choice, and you can't force goodness on people. And it's also got these other themes about technocracy and this society where they think that classical punishment for crimes no longer apply, like prison, and they try to basically give their prisoners some form of brainwashing to reintegrate them into society. And there's a bunch of questions about whether it works. And it's just an amazing, amazing film. I love it. So well directed, awesome music, awesome acting. It's like the greatest film ever. And going to Barry Lyndon, it's the most beautiful film ever, best directed film, great acting, heartbreaking story. It's a classic rise and fall movie set in a period piece, but it's the least pretentious movie you've ever seen. The first half is quite slow, second half is quite fast-paced. And I've also talked about Barry Lyndon, so I'm not going to do too long a review. And frankly, it's such a complex movie, it takes a while. Then I got Godfather 2 and Godfather 1, which are at my number 3 and 4. Everybody knows Godfather, just amazing films. What I really like about Godfather 1 and 2 is the character arc for Michael Corleone, who starts off as this sort of innocent member of this mafia family, and through his duty to his family, he's sort of corrupted and turned very cold and tough, and you get to watch the moral fall of one man, but also the I want to say political rise, but it's not political. It's within the mob families, his rise to power. That's what I should say, rise to power. But you also see the loss of his innocence, I guess, but also his his like heart. And by the second film, his heart is quite dried up, and it's quite sad to watch, especially at the end. Fantastic films. Great. Everyone's got to see them. Number 5, I consider Kill Bill 1 and 2 amazing movies, and I consider them one movie because they're essentially, they were supposed to be, but they were just cut up for public consumption, so it wouldn't be a 4-hour film. Kill Bill is my favorite action movie ever. The characters are just sick. Quentin Tarantino is just amazing at making these really cool universes and action scenarios and stuff. It stars the amazing Uma Thurman, Lucy Liu, Vivica Fox, Michael Madsen, and David Carradine. Yeah, another movie I have amazing memories from. I remember watching it alone, and I had to show it to my brother because I knew he was going to like it so much. It was exactly the sort of thing he would like, and we had great times watching this. Sort of over and over we watched. And yeah, basically it's sort of like an anime action film, but no anime, or a little bit of anime. There's a bit action. So if you like anime, you gotta watch it, and if you like action films, it doesn't get much better. Number 6, we have The Dark Knight, which I also recently talked about a lot. Best superhero movie, in my opinion. It's the sequel to Batman Begins, which is another fantastic film that is probably a little underrated on my current list, but it's on there. It stars the amazing Heath Ledger in his last movie where he gives his version of the Joker, which is just a joy to watch. It's basically The Dark Knight. The central theme and question is about terrorism and what is the limit of like a hero when dealing with a terrorist threat. Should he give in or should he endure? Furthermore, it's just about like the collapse of Gotham and how Batman's efforts during the first film and in between the first and second films are sort of causing this backlash from within the city, and it's sort of, he's demoralized that he's doing all this stuff, and it's just, it doesn't seem to be going the way he thought, and he's losing a lot personally. And it's just a great film. I've seen it more than any other. Probably seen it like 40 times, or 35 maybe, let's say. Yeah, I've been watching it ever since I was a kid. I remember I used to have the discs back when people used discs, and I would watch it like maybe like once a month or twice a month, and I would watch it, I don't know. I mean, I would probably watch it like every Halloween or something, I think, is what I used to do. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I just thought it was a Halloween-esque movie. Okay, next one, number 7. These are all 9.9s out of 10, by the way. Clockwork Orange and Barry Lyndon are my only 10 out of 10s because I believe that sort of thing is hard to come by. The Shining is my last 9.9. Another amazing memories I have watching these with my friends, and I've watched it about 6 times, I think, or 7 times. I know it's crazy. Some people don't like rewatching movies, but my whole thing is like, movies are about what you like, and it's not about seeing as many of them you can. I think you should just watch what you enjoy, and I enjoy my favorite movies, so I rewatch them a lot. But The Shining is, without a doubt, the best horror movie ever for me. It's not a jump scare horror movie. It's more like suspense and tension and like a claustrophobic sort of situation. And it's about like the collapse of a man's mind, both like supernaturally, where he sort of has the classic horror experience where he communes with like spirits, but also in like classic Kubrick fashion, there's also like the other meaning where it's like he's collapsing as a man and like he feels inadequate for his family, and this is all going on while supernatural things are happening, but it's about a father that kind of loses his mind behind all the supernatural stuff. It's so beautiful, this movie, and I never really realized it until I watched it a few times. It's so well paced. It's a scary movie, but not in the sense that it's the most scary movie of all time. And it's just got amazing suspense, and all the elements are there, like the location. It's so iconic. It's just great. I love it. Another one is Silence of the Lambs, which is number 8. It's 9.8 out of 10. Another amazing memory watching this. Could never forget. Silence of the Lambs is like the ultimate psychological thriller, I think they call it. And it stars the amazing Jodie Foster, who plays Clarice Starling, who's a sort of an FBI cadet. And then the incredible Anthony Hopkins, who, one of the greatest actors ever, one of the best performances ever. You can't look away. He's so amazing and powerful on the screen. And it's a whole thing. It's a mystery movie, and it gradually unlocks the story, and it's got these amazing tense moments that you really on the edge of your seat, and it's great fun to watch. Watch it at night. Watch it with your friends. Watch it in the dark, I say, and it would be really, really fun for you. Yeah, go do it. It's I wouldn't consider it a horror film, but it's like a scary movie, but not. It's like a psychological thriller. It's really like a detective film. Sorry about my nose. I'm a little stuffy today. But moving on to number 9, we got Pulp Fiction. More amazing memories from Pulp Fiction. Pulp Fiction is many people's favorite Tarantino. It's my second favorite Tarantino movie, but I've seen it so many times. It's so good. It's got like the most amazing actors, the best dialogue you've ever seen in a movie, as you expect with any Tarantino movie. He's like a wordsmith. He makes the funniest, sharpest, coolest sounding dialogue you've ever seen, and in this movie he does that to extreme. It's done in a non-linear fashion. It's sort of a bunch of like classic Hollywood storylines that converge, and it's sort of all like a little changed and turned on their head, and it's very clever. Some people don't like it because it's out of order, but I certainly love it. All right, number 10, 2001: A Space Odyssey. Another Stanley Kubrick absolute masterpiece. The direction is insane. That this is a 60s movie and looks better than all sci-fi movies that come out today is a sign of the fact that nobody tries anymore. And how much of a genius he was as a man. This movie is more about a feeling than the plot, and it gives me a very strange and thought-provoking feeling every time I watch it. And it's really what you make of it. It's like, it doesn't force a particular message on you, and you can take from it what you want, but it's about the history of humanity and our relationship with like a higher power like God. And you get to think of it what you want through the movie because it's very ambiguous. Number 11, The Empire Strikes Back, Star Wars Episode 5. Awesome Star Wars film. Definitely think it's the best Star Wars film of the actual Star Wars movies, like 1 through 6 I'm talking about. So-called complete saga that they somehow said that it wasn't complete. It's my favorite Star Wars movies, honestly. I love number 3, number 5, and 6, like sort of equally. But in terms of quality, I say that Empire's the best. It has great special effects. It is really well directed. The pace is awesome for this movie. It's like got a really tight and effective script. It leaves on a really good note, like a cliffhanger sort of thing. And it's just the quintessential Star Wars movie with a very compelling romance between Han Solo and Princess Leia, or Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher, who have like the best chemistry you've ever seen in a movie. And it's just really fun to watch, and I love Star Wars personally, so I like being in the world. Also, I think it's got like these really good action scenes, like the asteroid chase is actually one of my favorite. It's actually like one of my favorite parts of any movie, but certainly from Star Wars is probably one of my favorite moments. I think it's just a really good action sequence, and the music and everything is so awesome, and I really enjoy it. But number 12, which is my last 9.8 out of 10, it's 12 Angry Men. 12 Angry Men is like the most American movie ever, and it kind of makes you proud to be American. It's about like a jury deliberating, and it's just like really well written, and the dialogue is super sharp and all this stuff, and the actors are just from this other era that doesn't exist anymore, in terms of an actor's work ethic and sort of just power they bring to every scene and whatnot. And yeah, it's a very procedural and well-written, tight script that basically, it's another like one of those sort of mystery whodunit sort of situations, and the ethics of punishment and sort of responsibility to the community and all that stuff. I love the movie. I really do. I've only seen it once, which is rare for my top 50s. But yeah, moving on to Terminator 2, which is a 9.7 out of 10. I love this movie so much. It's like the movie I watch when I'm sad and I want like something to cheer me up. It's such an amazing film, and just got to be the best action movie. I know I said Kill Bill, but at this level of movies that I love, I sort of love everything, you know. They're all amazing in this list. It's incredibly paced and entertaining. It's got Arnold Schwarzenegger at like his peak of coolness. It's got Linda Hamilton at her character's like finest hour. It's got amazing arcs from Terminator 1, which is another movie on this list that I absolutely adore, and my brother told me to watch a while ago, and you know, it brought me into this disease of Terminator films, which honestly only the first two are worth watching, but I've watched them so much that I don't get bored of them. That's why I call it a disease, but it's a good disease for me. Also, it's got Robert Patrick, who's an amazing Terminator. He's just a fantastic actor, and he really commands the screen all the time. And he's a great villain. And yes, I recommend you watch the film. Number 14, The Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. amazing, epic ending to the Lord of the Rings. My favorite Lord of the Rings film. I haven't seen the extended edition because, dude, watching a 4-hour movie is a little difficult for me. And I know you can watch it across 2 days, but I have to like do some thinking about it before, you know? Anyway, yes, Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King is like the most emotional and emotionally powerful of the Lord of the Rings films. It's the final act and the final convergence of all the different character groups that we've been seeing for the last 2 movies. And it's the perfect end to Frodo and Sam's and Gandalf and Aragorn's quest to rid Middle-earth of the evil Sauron. And yes, I once again have amazing memories watching it the first time. Just great fun for me. More great memories with the next movie, Eyes Wide Shut. A movie that, I watched it again with my brother a while ago, and we sort of didn't expect it to be that good because we thought that it was like the worst Kubrick film because it's rated the lowest. However, it's actually one of my favorite Kubrick films. On my list so far, it's number 4, which is amazing, and I consider it a masterpiece, actually. I really enjoy it, and it's a waste of time saying with Stanley Kubrick movies that it's well directed. But it's sort of this more experiential dream movie, and it's great fun to watch for me. It's like it's very mysterious and sort of, it's hard to even explain what feelings I get from it, but I really like it, and it gives me it's very fun to watch at night. It's one of those movies that you kind of disappear into, and it's just like it washes over you, It's not like heavy on the plot to go over all that stuff. It's more like the feeling you get from it. And I love Nicole Kidman in it. Tom Cruise is good, but I prefer Nicole Kidman in it. I also like Sidney Pollack from this movie. Everybody was good. Okay, next movie, 7. Fantastic. I think it's a neo-noir is what you'd call it. Yeah, it is. And another great David Fincher film. Very sort of disturbing, and it's just, I want to say this in a a polite way. It's like got guts, It's very, it doesn't pull any punches, It's very confident, and it shows some pretty gruesome stuff, but it makes the movie, it's an amazing film. I really, once again, enjoyed watching it, and I've watched it many times since, and I really love it, and it's been a while since I've watched it. Maybe I'll do it again sometime. Scarface, a movie I had seen when I was quite young. I was probably like 9 years old when I first watched it, maybe. It's an amazing movie. It's got a really sick ending, awesome, like guns blazing, firefight sort of thing. Great character, classic rise and fall sort of movie. Barry Lyndon, that doesn't have guns or anything, but the character idea is similar. It's the sort of guy that punches above his weight and sort of makes something of himself, sort of because he has a chip on his shoulder. And it's very, you identify or you support those characters, and it's very good cinema to watch. Michelle Pfeiffer, who I had a crush on big time when I watched this movie for the first time, I remember. Anybody who was blonde, I suppose. Um, and yeah, it's just a fantastic film. Number 18, another classic, American Beauty. And what a beauty this film is. It's super unique. Although I feel like people in this generation will have a hard time watching it because it's not politically correct. But it's sort of, it's about like some pretty sensitive subject matter, but it's a really amazing sort of like stories in the vein of like Fight Club or, man, what's that movie? Oh, geez, sometimes I forget names of like movies that aren't like my favorites, but there's a lot of movies like it, but it's like the guy that goes against the system and he's just had enough of his like terrible job and he just rebels against the system, you know? It's a Michael Douglas film. Maybe you guys know. I'm forgetting what it's called. But yeah, it's great fun to watch this guy who's bullied sort of in his nothing job sort of come back and, you know, just rock it out. And Kevin Spacey is an amazing actor. Sam Mendes, amazing director. Annette Bening is also great. And the characters are so weird in this film. It's just great fun to watch. And just the plot is so good. It's so well written. It's beautiful. It really is a beautiful film. Hence the name, American Beauty. Blade Runner. Blade Runner, I did not like the first time, but now I love it. Blade Runner is another sci-fi classic. It's sort of about the world that is basically like a wasteland. Not a wasteland, but it's like people are abandoning it to go out and live outside Earth. So it's this dystopian world that's very ugly and dark. And basically what happens is there's a corporation that sort of I don't know if they rule America or they have like a lot of influence, but they basically create all these robots that are called replicants. And these replicants are indistinguishable from humans, and basically the film it's about this problem where the replicants start to forget they are robots because the corporation implants memories into them of other people, so they're more naturalistic and whatnot. But 4 replicants who are like on a mining world outside of Earth figure out they're replicants, or I think these ones already knew they were robots, and all replicants have a 4-year lifespan. And they basically are in this situation where they want to go back to Earth and meet their maker, which is the guy that runs the corporation, and they want to get him to extend their life. And it's this whole thing about life and how do we know what's real and what's not, and it's about like creation and God and all this stuff. And it's a very touching story that has an ambiguous ending, and it's an absolute banger. It's amazing. I love this movie. Watched it a lot of times. Goodfellas, classic mob movie, number 29.7. Casino also is another classic mob movie that is amazing. Great actors. Both Martin Scorsese's, I'm going to review them together. They're like hangout movies. You get to learn the characters and be with them. Casino is a more like colorful version. I basically find them like equal. And they're just amazing, like almost like biographical films about mobsters, and they're a great deal of fun, and the characters are amazing. Aliens, number 22, another amazing action film, great James Cameron sequel to Alien, which is my number 23. Introduced to me by my brother again, and love it. Alien is like a great horror film. Aliens is a great action film. Number 24. I'm sorry, I'm just speeding up a bit because I'm at the halfway point, like 30 minutes right now, and my throat's kind of getting dry, so I'm just gonna, I don't know if I'm gonna finish if I give big reviews for each one. It's a Wonderful Life is 24, which I'm actually gonna do a proper review going up to Christmas, because it's a Christmas movie. Lovely film about depression and suicide. Very heartwarming, but also sad film. I teared up quite a bit at the end. Starring James Stewart, who I always thought was a really cold actor, but he was actually really powerful in this film. Because I watched those Hitchcock movies, and the guy is like a piece of cardboard. Even though I like him, he just is so square, you know. He's too normal. Okay, next movie, Chinatown. Fantastic neo-noir film by Roman Polanski. Jack Nicholson, awesome actor. Faye Dunaway, awesome actress. Tragic ending in a tragic movie with some pretty disturbing revelations. Next one is Batman Begins, which I've talked about recently. I find it to be underrated, and I consider it to be a masterpiece, although I don't find many people share my opinion. I give it a 9.7 out of 10, which is really high. Moving on to number 27, which is Crimes and Misdemeanors, Woody Allen. A movie that you basically is so hard to watch because it's not on any streaming service or even on Apple TV, anywhere to buy. You have to get a disc, which is in low production, so it's often very expensive. But I have watched it. I got the disc. It's just a amazing film. Super complex, hilarious, but also quite dark. And it has a lot of like good lessons to teach and a lot of things about society and humanity that I find very true. And what I always like about Woody Allen movies is they're like too real, you know, because nothing ever goes the good guy's ways, which I feel happens a lot. Number 28 is There Will Be Blood. A really fantastic, how would I describe it? Is it like kind of a biography? Nah, I don't know if it's a biography. It's a drama, I suppose, with really great actors and a really, really cool main character he's like a tough-talking, pure capitalist oil tycoon that has a hatred of like religion, and he sort of conflicts with these people that he's bought the land from, making the oil, to get the oil, and many problems arise from this, and we get to see his startup and the end of his life. So maybe it is a biography, I guess. And we get to see that sort of qualities that got him to be an oil man, a great oil man, being ruthless, sort of in the end is his downfall. Number 29, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Amazing Indiana Jones movie. Great adventure film. Classic adventure film. I love it because I love the Ark of the Covenant in it. I think it's the coolest artifact from Indiana Jones. It just has such mystique and power around it. And the music is awesome. The direction's awesome. It's of course a George Lucas story, but directed by Spielberg, and they worked on first three movies and then the fourth movie that wasn't as good. But, you know, they did a great job, I feel. Casablanca, number 30. Still 9.7s, man. These are some serious films. Casablanca, it's a quintessential, like, romance story. Humphrey Bogart is, like, the ultimate cool, tough guy. I love him, and he's such an amazing actor. Ingrid Bergman is, like, this amazing, classy, beautiful woman. And she's sort of like it's like they're long-lost lovers that meet again at a weird time, and they are in a tough situation, and they gotta work it out. That's a really bad explanation, but I don't know. It's an amazing movie. It's like pure execution on the part of the director. It's just like a perfectly made romance film and drama. And, you know, a bit of a war film, actually, as IMDb says. But it's not a war film in the sense they're on the front lines. And a cool thing about it was actually made during World War II, and it was like an anti-Nazi movie, which does take some guts to make, you know, because you don't know how the war is going to end, and, you know, you might be held accountable for making an anti-German film if they won, right? So I liked that part. Citizen Kane, man, I got memories from this too. So many memories. But Citizen Kane is another classic American movie that's sort of based off the life of William Randolph Hearst. It's a very tight and powerful personal mystery story where you get to learn about a man, and it's a character study, but there's also a mystery surrounding the man, which was his last words. And when you find out at the end what those last words meant, it sort of changes your whole view of the movie and the character. And it's very sweet. And, you know, just very nice. I love it. It's a great film. Once again, amazing memories, as usual. Annie Hall, number 32, my favorite comedy or pure comedy film. Woody Allen's got to be one of the funniest guys ever. Diane Keaton is really, really, she's like such a sweet actress, much better than Mia Farrow, who I distrust profoundly. I think she's a crazy lady. And it's sort of like another one of his like realistic stories about a romance gone a little south, and it's just got the most human and funny writing you can imagine, and it's got this amazing ending that summarizes the film so well just in a few lines, and it's an absolute masterpiece. Awesome film. I love it. Speaking of awesome films that I love, this is the 9.6. It's so close to a 9.7. I just think it's got some flaws that prevent it from being a masterpiece. I consider it like a really great film. It's the movie Inception, which I watched like 10 days ago again. It's not for everybody again. In fact, I didn't like it the first time I watched it. And sort of made me angry watching it because it was so complicated. But then I watched it a second time and I really liked it. And, you know, it's actually got, although it is a very technical film and it's very complicated, it's still, sorry, I had a yawn there. It still gives so much opportunity to, like, know the characters, and it has some, like, really tragic storylines. But then also the action is so awesome. It's like mind-bending action, which is really cool, and the world Christopher Nolan builds with his space brain that he has is just awesome. It's so cool that that guy is that smart that he can come up with all this stuff. because I don't know how he does it. I certainly wouldn't be able to. I'm really dumb, you know. Next movie, Fight Club. Great film starring Brad Pitt, who's one of my favorite actors, and Edward Norton, who I like a lot. Like I said with American Beauty, it's about like the guy that is pushed to his limits by society, and he's done with the mundane work, and he sort of gets into a situation with these underground fighters. And it's a really good, really great film because it's just the dynamic that develops between, and I don't want to spoil it because you best watch it, but the character dynamic between Edward Norton, Brad Pitt, Tyler Durden, is just, it's worth dying for. It's such a good, maybe not that good, but you know what I mean. Metaphorically, let's say. It's just amazing to watch the story unfold and the mystery unravel, and it's really great. Another David Fincher film that's absolute banger. The Usual Suspects. More memories. It's sort of the quintessential mystery film with the, surprise twist at the end. It's really so clever, so fun to watch. Amazing actors. Kevin Spacey, Gabriel Byrne, I think you say it. Chaz Palminteri, and Stephen Baldwin. Who's Stephen? Oh, Stephen Baldwin. That's that one, it's Alec Baldwin's brother. Yeah, I forget him. Anyway, it's the quintessential mystery, and you gotta watch it. If you like mysteries, you don't like mysteries until you watch Usual Suspects, okay? It's the quintessential twist film. Donnie Darko, I just reviewed it last Wednesday. And, of course, you can see that on my YouTube channel. Just say Cinéshow, Cineshow, KUCI. It'll be the first one. KUCI 88.9, of course. You could watch it on the website. Donnie Darko, I've only seen it once recently. I gotta watch it again soon, which I will. It is a film that I actually relate to tremendously. It's about a time loop, and it's very sweet, and it's got everything. It's got romance, it's got drama, it's got coming of age. I mean, not really coming of age, but it takes place with kids, and it's sort of in this idyllic American suburb, which I have no idea why. I always like those movies. It's sort of same thing with American Beauty and a few other films, but Blue Velvet too, which is coming up on my list. There's something about that, the taking place in a little American town that's really, really peaceful. I always really want to be in that world for some reason. Even though I do live in a suburb, I don't know why. There's just something about how it's portrayed on in a movie that's just really good. But anyway, Donnie Darko, the circumstances I watched the film spoke to me a lot because it really actually related to me quite a bit, and which was very special to me. Furthermore, it's really well directed and paced, and the ending is really heartbreaking. And I didn't expect it. I expected some of it, but not as far as they went. And the characters are just a joy. It's so funny. The script is so funny, and the characters are so lighthearted and amazing. And the main character, Donnie Darko, played by Jake Gyllenhaal. It's like you just want to like be his friend or like, give him a hug, and because he's like struggling so much, you know. And the ending is genuinely heartbreaking because like all these happy characters are sort of, brought down in the end, let's say. I don't like to spoil it because even though I do spoil some by accident, I genuinely try not to. Next film, Blue Velvet. Now this movie is pretty amazing. David Lynch. I need to watch Mulholland Drive again to see where I put both of them next to each other, but I watched Blue Velvet, I think twice or 3 times even. It's a fantastic Lynchian mystery story. It's got like the perfect insane scenario that only David Lynch could come up with, and it's super creepy, and it's a very disturbing movie. Like, I don't care. Like, I like those sort of movies that are weird and disturbing, but some people may not like them. And it has a really great experience watching it, and a great ending. And it's got some great actors like Dennis Hopper, who, I thought was a terrible actor because I saw him in Speed, in which he is just awful. I mean, really bad. But in this movie, he's really good, and he's so funny. He's like one of those guys that says like something so crude just by itself, but then he takes it to like a level 10 by just yelling it at people. I can't say the words due to the FCC. I can't quote him, but he says some crazy stuff that's really funny, and you just gotta watch it. Okay, number 38. How many minutes have I been going? Oh, jeez, I got 14 minutes left. I gotta hurry up. Return of the Jedi. I mean, do I really need to talk about this? It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I love it. It's got like my favorite line of all time, and I want to quote it right. So let me get the exact quote so I can quote it for you. My favorite line of all time, when Darth Vader says, like, hold on. Yeah. When he says, "Help me take this mask off so I could look on you with my own eyes," I always really tear up at the end of that movie. I think it's such a beautiful end, especially if you watch 1 through 6 and you get the whole rise, fall, and redemption of Anakin Skywalker. I think it's like the most beautiful character ever, in my opinion. I really love it. That's my favorite line. Furthermore, the ending fight is awesome. The Emperor is amazing. It's everything you want in a Star Wars film. Just an absolute banger, once again. Next movie, Magnolia. Hilarious, sad, and just a total genius of creative writing. This movie is so dumb in terms of what you're seeing on the screen, yet it's so smart. And that's all I can say about it. You just gotta go watch it. It's amazing. Okay, number 40 is Rocky. Sorry, I'm going a bit faster now. Rocky, quintessential sports movie, but you don't need to like sports or boxing to like Rocky. It's about overcoming great odds, and it's about like one man who, I'm not going to say whether he wins the fight or not, but your heart is with him, and he's got heart. He may not have the best skill in the world, but he's got heart, and he punches above his weight, and it's an amazing film, shot amazingly. Sylvester Stallone, the real life story of him writing this movie and sort of launching his career with it from being very poor and whatnot is just awesome too. Talia Shire, great. Burt Young. Carl Weathers too. Really cool, and sort of like loosely based off of real boxing history, which if you like boxing, you know. If you don't, who cares? Number 41, Sling Blade. Another movie that's usually hard to watch because it's not on Apple TV. Let me see if they've put it on. Yeah, according to this, it's still not on Apple TV. It used to be, but they removed it. Sling Blade is a really, really amazing drama. It's directed and starred in by Billy Bob Thornton. One of the best movies you'll ever see. Set in the American South. It's about like a mentally challenged individual who is sort of in an asylum, sort of, because he did kill a person, but it was sort of not his fault, and he, due to his mental disability, he sort of misunderstood what was going on. And then after he's released from the asylum, he develops a relationship with this little kid, and he sort of meets his family, and they sort of take him in because he's sort of like a child in some ways. And he sort of becomes the little kid's like big brother, and from there we have like threats of like domestic, abuse and stuff, and it's the Carl is his name, who's the mentally challenged guy, has to like adapt to what he's seeing, and we get to see how he reacts to that. And it's a really beautiful movie, and yeah, it's sure to, pull out your heartstrings. I love it. It's one of my favorite movies ever. I really, really recommend it to everybody. But you have to buy the disc, I think. So, I mean, if you can find it, great. I couldn't find it. But yeah. All right, I got 8 minutes. Let's go. Okay. Even less than that, because I have to sign out. A Bronx Tale. Amazing mob movie. Directed by Robert De Niro. Starred Robert De Niro. Chas Palminteri. It's sort of like a different type of mob movie, because in usual mob movies, and I'm not criticizing this because I like it, it's the guys that are the tough guys that are always, the ones that are the good guys, or, the cool guys that you root for. It's the guys with the expensive suits and the big guns, and they talk tough and all this stuff. They're the mobsters. But this story gives it from another perspective, where a father and a son, they're the main characters, and the son goes off and wants to join the mob. And the dad, who's a bus driver, is sort of like trying to pull him away from that life. And it's a very complex movie where, in a way, you can see both sides of the argument. Like, the guy that's the bus driver makes a lot of good points about honest work and whatnot. But the the mobster also, like, has a lot of points about, like, the kid's future and whatnot. And, like, he makes some good points about, like, coming from a different world and whatnot. Not saying that, like, you should be a mobster, but I'm just saying, like, when you're watching the movie, you sympathize with both men. And then, the movie ends, again, in a quite sad way, and there's sort of reconciliation. It's a great story. Okay, how much time do I have? Okay. The Terminator, number 43. Amazing horror film, sci-fi horror film. Arnold Schwarzenegger, awesome. James Cameron, great director. Linda Hamilton, great. Michael Biehn, amazing. I actually think I'm going to watch this today. I love this movie so much. I can't stop watching the Terminator films. I really can't. But yeah, I'm not going to summarize the plot, but it's like they're being chased after by the Terminator, and it's a fight, an unwinnable fight, basically, and it just creates great scenes. All right, next movie, Lord of the Rings. Fellowship of the Ring, and then Two Towers is number 45. So I'm going to review both at once. Fellowship of the Ring, amazing direction. It is a beautiful movie, most beautiful of all of them. Great dialogue, great start to the franchise. Two Towers. It's got like the sickest fantasy action, or like medieval action sort of castle fight you've ever seen in your life. It's directed in a legendary way. Peter Jackson, genius. All the actors, great. Amazing movie. Number 46. It's actually a Mexican film, Amores Perros, which I actually think I'm not allowed to say on air because it's a swear word, I think. But I don't know. I don't know. It may not be. Anyway, it's this amazing sort of Tarantino-esque story about these, like, I think it's 3 groups of like very morally bad people, and they sort of converge at the end, like most Tarantino, even though it's not Tarantino, it's Iñárritu, but it's sort of in that vein. They converge at the end, and it's really beautiful and very dark and very violent, and it's awesome. I love it. It's a sick movie. I'm sorry, I'm running out of time. Okay. It Happened One Night, number 47. Very sweet movie. It's a romance movie. Frank Capra, it's a classic. Clark Gable, very charming. Claudette Colbert is the woman character. She's not as good as he is, though. He's really amazing, but she's really good too. She's like very charming as well. This one is mostly reliant on like dialogue and execution. It's just a really nice film. Number 48, Raging Bull, amazing sports movie again. I like Rocky better because, I don't know, it's just got more heart, but it's an amazing film as well. North by Northwest, think of a James Bond movie directed by Alfred Hitchcock, and that's exactly what it is. Cary Grant, one of the best actors. Ava Marie Saint, again, amazing actor. James Mason, I love that actor. He's amazing. He's super cool. And it's got all the stuff, the mystery of all the Hitchcock films, and it's got the fight at the lair, but it's much better than other James Bond movies. And number 50, which I just added, is a 9.5. My only 9.5 out of 10. North by Northwest was the last 9.6. Is Oppenheimer, a film that I've reviewed before. Amazing dialogue, a great biographical piece, directed perfectly, very intriguing. It's not perfect, but it's a really fantastic film. I'm sorry I rushed, but we got like 2 minutes left. And with that, I got to sign out for you here. This has been KUCI 88.9 Irvine, Cinéshow, hosted by Nima Golbabai. I thank you for listening to my show. I hope you like my movies. If you don't, write me hate mail and tell me that you don't like my movies. Yeah, I'm with you to the end of the line.